All right, what's going on? It's class in session. This is my good bro, Rainbow John. Oh, that's really good. Say hi to the kids in TV land.
Hello, kids in TV land. This is Uncle Rainbow John.
So,
for laughs.
John came by to talk about some things. We're going to play a wicked public service announcement from Neil Young. There's a lot of shit going on in the fucking world and in Canada, especially with our environment and our government selling us out. Shit's happening, and it's a lot of Canadians are pissed right the fuck off. It ain't fucking cool. I don't know, in my entire life, I can't remember the reporting of 3 disastrous railway spills. Can you recall that within a few months of each other? Can you ever recall that in your lifetime, John? Where 3 in different parts of the country, 3 separate derailments of train cars carrying petroleum and
other hazardous
and
materials.
other hazardous petroleum byproducts and things related to the fuel industry. 3 trains have derailed in Canada in different parts at different times, all at the cusp of passing this fucking Enbridge pipeline.
Wow, you know.
Whoa!
you know, I never gave that serious thought before. It sounds like a lot of what they call them black flags.
Yeah.
You know, where they create a situation. Look here, we can't transport it by oil anymore because it blows up. We got to do it by pipelines. Very
exactly.
nice.
So now they've created these 3 separate instances, and that they're going to use that as their argument. So we got Neil Young speaking out against it. I'm happy that there's people. Apparently my mic is off.
No, it was on. That's weird.
John is on. Can we check on the board? Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, you're really low for some reason, but I can't figure out why.
Maybe we got a shitty mic cable.
Let's put this mic in the middle, perhaps.
No. We'll just get another mic.
We might have a shitty mic cable. Yeah. Well, hey, let's play the Neil Young thing before.
Yeah,
so we're not wasting more time.
We'll keep that there. All right. Okay.
We'll play This is the Neil Young video denouncing the state of Canada.
Okay. But I will be in
Can we hit the sublimator, John?
Who? Oh, more paraphernalia from my experience.
Yeah. Careful not to touch any of that. This is cool.
Well, that's a sorry state of affairs. I'm just here to bring this together so you have a chance to hear some of the things that are happening. It's already been well stated. All I can say is to me, it's a basic matter of integrity on the part of Canada. Canada is trading integrity for money. That's what's happening under the current leadership in Canada, which is a very poor imitation of the George Bush administration in the United States and is lagging behind on the world stage. It's an embarrassment to many Canadians. So as a Canadian, I felt like I had a chance to do something by bringing this together. I first visited the Fort Mac area a while ago and viewed the tar sands that are available for viewing from the ground. And what I saw was a devastating environmental catastrophe, which of course is a boom town. Now, you know, it's providing money for all kinds of people for the next few years, but it doesn't think about our grandchildren. It doesn't think about the future. We need to start thinking about the future, is how I feel. I want to work towards the future. That's what I was there for when I went to study CO2 in Alberta, where every day in Alberta, even with the tar sands the way they are now, the amount of CO2 coming out of the tar sands industrial sites is equal to every car in Canada every day. It's like 2 cars on the road for every one. That's what's happening there. That's now not the way to end global warming. I read in the Globe and Mail this morning that Canada's got a little problem with mathematics, and that the children here are not learning very well. But Canada has an even bigger problem with science. It's a huge problem. Right at the top of the chain, in Ottawa, we have a huge problem with science and the understanding of it. Our future depends on science. Science is the roadmap. Science cannot be ignored as inconvenient. And that's what today's leaders are doing. That's why I'm here. Because behind this sad and incredibly tragic story of what Canada is doing to the First Nations people, Canada, the name Canada is based on a First Nations word. The name Ottawa, based on a First Nations word. Ontario, based on a First Nations word. Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Quebec. These are all First Nations words. That is where Canada came from. We are here. We made a deal with these people. We are breaking our promise. We are killing these people. The blood of these people will be on modern Canada's hands. And it will be as a result of not just a slow thing, but of a fast and horrific thing if this continues. There are many ways that this could happen. And believe me, these people are not going to sit back and let Canada, the modern Canada, roll over them. And they're not saying it, but they're feeling it. And you can't do this. Canada cannot just walk over everyone. So I have too much to say about this to say right now. And it's a little bit too late for me to be here to stop some of the things that have already happened. But nonetheless, I'm here, and these are my friends, and I hope that we can make a difference for our grandchildren, because that's why we're here, that's why I'm here. Because I want my grandchildren to grow up and look up and see a blue sky and have dreams that their grandchildren are going to do great things. And I don't see that today in Canada. I see a government in just completely out of control. Money is number one. Integrity isn't even on the map. So please get a grip and understand what is really happening, and try to talk to your neighbors, have people vote. Convince your First Nation friends to vote. Don't accept what you hear as being true, because it's not. Anything that you're hearing from the government about the tar sands is just marketing. It's not truth. Take a second to really look at what you hear. That's what I can say. The rest of it's up to you. You have to make up your own minds. I can't tell you how to think. I don't want to tell you how to think. If you don't think of it yourself, it won't last. So good luck. Well, when I first heard about this, it was about halfway there. I was driving there in an electric car from San Francisco to northern Alberta, in an electric car with a generator charging batteries that was powered by biomass. And this car was a 6,500-pound vehicle. And we were making the point that you didn't need oil, that you didn't need fossil fuels, that there were other ways to get around. Now we're making a movie about CO2 and transportation. About halfway there, I saw a video of the chief talking. I said to my friend Dave, there's a strong man talking there that really believes what he's saying. What is going on up there? Then I started finding out what was going on. There were doctors saying that the cancer rate among the First Nations people was 30% greater than it was among anybody else, and it was a bunch of cancers that nobody had ever seen before in the area. Further studies revealed that those cancers were part of the petrochemical business, one of the offshoots of that. So I found that to be interesting. It wasn't the number one thing, and I was going north for, but I kept hearing about it. So really, it's a terrible issue. It's a terrible problem. It's fraught with bad things that no one wants to think about, broken promises, integrity, Canadian pride. There's a lot of problems with this issue of how Canada has treated the First Nations people. And it's truly evident in the area of the tar sands. Although that's just a flashpoint now. It's apparent across the country. So I became very interested in it and decided to meet who I could and talk to them. So that's when I met the chief, and that's when we went to the homes and to the where the First Nations people were living, and I met them. But while I was there, I also went to the tar sands, and I drove around the tar sands in my electric car, viewing it and experiencing this unbelievable smell and toxicity in my throat, and my eyes were burning. And that started 25 miles away from the tar sands when I was in Fort Mac, and got more intense. My son, who has cerebral palsy, has lung damage, and he was wearing a mask to keep the toxic things in the air out of his lungs and to make it easy for him to have lungs after he left. And so we drove around there, and it was just a huge industrial site. It looked very big and very impressive and extremely well organized. A lot of people were working, hard-working people who I respected. I still respect hard-working people. And that was one of 50 sites. The one we saw was the cleanest one. It's the best-looking one. It's the poster child. And it's one of the ugliest things I've ever seen. But there's a film that we show called Petropolis that we'll be showing between the sets tonight, and showing on the screen and showing in the lobbies and showing around. And we have a 12-minute version of it that is an aerial shot of the tar sands, which is one of the most, well, probably the most devastating thing that you will ever see. That this exists in Canada, the largest undertaking of its kind, or of any kind, on the planet, is right here in Canada. It's the greediest, most destructive, and disrespectful demonstration of just something run amok that you could ever see. There's no way to describe it. So I described it as Hiroshima, which was basically pretty mellow compared to what was really going on up there. So I still stand by what I said about Fort Mac and about the way it looks. Not because the houses in Fort Mac look like Hiroshima, but because Fort Mac stands for 50 sites. The name Fort Mac stands for disease that these First Nations peoples are getting. The pollution, everything that's happening there. In the face of the challenge that the world faces, where we really need to turn around and look about the future for our grandchildren and develop new technologies. This is even uglier, because this country is going in the other direction. It is, what's the word? Hypocritical. Some of the things that are being said by the leaders of this country are pure hypocrisy. It's embarrassing as a Canadian to have to listen to some of this stuff. It's all marketing. It's all big money. This oil is all going to China. It's not for Canada. It's not for the United States. It's not ours. It belongs to the oil companies. And Canada's government is behind making this happen. It's truly a disaster to anyone with an environmental conscience, anyone who is thinking about their grandchildren, anyone who can see outside of a 3-month window of corporate profit has got to be appalled at what's going on. So that's too much for me to say to Prime Minister Harper, I think. But, you know, nonetheless, I don't think I'm going to get to see him anyway. But if he does want to see me, I'm welcome. I'm ready to go see him. I would welcome the opportunity. We invited representatives of the Canadian government to be here. There are their chairs over there, and they respectfully declined to come. And, you know, there must be another side to this story. And
you didn't invite them to debate. You invited them to present.
No, come and tell their side of the story. Come and say what's happening. I'm happy to hear that. I would love to hear that, David. I would love to hear why this is okay. Why it's okay to break treaties.
I've tried to see the Prime Minister 3 times, and he's rejected me, so chances
Well, you got
are
a bad reputation.
Got another question over here?
See?
Don't want to be soiled by seeing you. I would think that what everybody should do is try to get some information out of this and look inside themselves, try to make their own decision for themselves as Canadians as to what they would do. I can't tell you what to do. For sure you could vote, and that's not going to change anything right away. But people should maybe start thinking about the future and start thinking, I would recommend, don't accept that there's no other way. Let's develop a way out of this. Let's have ingenuity. Let's figure out a way. People have ideas. Think about your kids, whatever. They should be thinking of ways to technologically work with what we have to create energy. There are many solutions we don't understand that are alternatives to what we're doing. What we're doing is so destructive, and the future is so huge. We need to look ahead and develop renewable resources. We need to combine renewable resources and technologies to move forward and produce energy. We have all of the key products. We have all of the key elements to move forward in the world. And the world is showing us that we're going the wrong way. The sun is so strong. We will harvest the energy of the sun. Will we do it fast enough is the question. And we have a chance to change the speed of change. And that's what people's mindsets, that's what's in your mind. If you're looking forward instead of at what's just in front of you right now, if you're thinking about your grandchildren and their grandchildren, and instead of what's going on right now in your job and whether you know, your neighborhood is doing well or not, it's important to think about the future for everybody else, and try to look forward, try to come up with alternatives to a dirty future based on fossil fuels. Forget about it. Develop something else. Develop a way out. There's a door that can open into the sunshine. This is not a good place for us to be right now.
All right, so we're back. I don't know if anybody caught any of that. We were trying to listen to that here, and it was fucking streaming and buffering and fucking so choppy. It was pissing me off. So I hope you guys got that. If not, it's on YouTube. It's a Neil Young, basically speech addressed to Harper. John, you want to get into it?
Yeah, I'm making it. It's going to pull the wall down. Oh, this is
The wall's falling.
Yeah.
And the wall.
the
Come
wall.
tumbling down.
Okay, I'm sitting down now. Here.
So
yeah, lead on.
yeah, I'm not sure if anybody caught any of that because it was glitching a lot on our playback. So I'm not sure if yours was doing the same. We got a message from Green Supreme.
Your mic's really low.
Green Supreme says it was good.
Okay, good.
My mic is still low, eh?
Yeah, both the mics are really low for some reason.
But maybe we should get closer then. Let's do the closer thing.
Maybe crank the shit out of the gain on our microphone.
Okay. Yeah, I am cranking the shit out of the gain.
Alright.
Alrighty. I don't know what's wrong.
So what's going on out there in Alberta with these tar sands? It's a fucking travesty. The people are hurting. First Nations people who have, got the short end of treaties for their whole duration of treaties are hurting even more because of this. Cancer rates are up, lung infections are up, toxic water, all kinds of shit. And Harper's just sitting back, raking in his fucking dollars and dollars and dollars and dollars, hand over fist, not giving a shit. It's kind of sad.
Okay, I know why it's not detecting the microphones. I have to stop and start again.
Okay, we're having a bunch of fucking bullshit going on here today. So yeah, we're gonna stop this shit and we're gonna start this shit again and get it right the next time. So we'll be back in 3 minutes.
Less.
I don't need that. But this is something.
I like the accelerated.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
You guys are okay.
Now we're back? All right. Really fucking sorry, guys. What started off as a smooth morning turned into a clusterfuck really quick. So, yeah. That's just the way it goes sometimes.
Well, it wasn't that bad.
Well, you know, my
We did get the streaming. We did get streaming problem.
so what condition are we in now? Are we on mic? Are we on air? Or what are we doing?
We're on air. The mics are on.
Oh, they are.
Oh, yeah,
Okay, so if I care to make some comment about this.
You can make some comments about anything you want, John.
Well, I didn't catch much of the previous show with Neil Young, but I'm sure that any other person who was not had never been exposed to that kind of madness would respond in a similar way. It would be shock and outrage.
How he starts off his address is that basically calls the Harper administration a second-rate version of the Bush administration.
Well, actually, it's a part of an international.
And now Green Supreme says it's pretty loud now.
Okay.
Marius?
Okay.
We're pretty loud now?
Okay, well.
I turned it down.
All right.
Probably since he said that.
Well, to bring it back to a level of reality, which I think a lot of your well-educated audience probably understand, and that is that we are now facing an international cabal of bankers who set up all these varieties of trickery that encourage everybody to be in this endless game of competition.
It's true.
And enslavement, wage slavery, and job jockeying is really what's happened. And then when the blessed herb came into people's world, and I call it the blessed herb because I was 38 when I started using it.
Oh, you haven't been using your whole life?
I didn't. Well, I'm 77 now, so that's almost
half. Yeah, little more than half. Yeah.
So we're pretty close. Anyway, so and I realized that this was the way of peace. That what I saw the young people doing was peaceful. There was more respect between men and women. I thought that was a good move. There was less of the ho-ho, yodi-ho violence kind of evidence that I saw in Canada in those days. And I'd come over from Britain when I was 24 because I was so outspoken in the circles I was living in. And in those days, assistant heads would roll if you said the wrong thing to the right person at the right time.
Yeah. Especially, there was a whole different...
If you had a lot of... especially if you had access to information, which I did. So I came to Canada basically on the run and looking for freedom. And when I got here, there was a considerable amount of freedom, but there was also a considerable amount of oppression. And the oppression had grown out of the same thing that it grew out of in Britain, the advantages of the bloodlines. In other words, it wasn't so much important if you had an uncle who was a lawyer, if you had a Supreme Court judge as your father. These were the sort of things that permitted a slow precipitation of a real serious ugliness, which manifested itself as a result of just that fog, a family fog surrounding, Uncle George is a bit strange, where does he go on Friday nights? Well, we don't want to know.
I saw a weird robe in Uncle George's closet. What was that?
Well, whatever, but people do follow these directions to float their boats, to satisfy their
your lighter's right there.
Oh, there it is. Thank you. Their urgencies. But anyway, how to deal with that today? Well, clearly, Harper should be arrested by the RCMP right now on a number of frauds, not least of which was clear evidence.
Oh, I totally agree.
So, that should... So I've already poked the RCMP that Mr. Paulson, the new commissioner, to do what he said he was going to do, and I've got that on my website, rainbowcoalition.ca, and
Rainbowcoalition.ca.
that's my website. And I've also, for many years now, more than 20 years, been trying to bring about change in Canada away from the disadvantages of politics, the way it's played. And I believe that we should not have a career as politicians. People may certainly be interested in public affairs and should participate, but I don't think there should be a career for politicians per se.
Well, a lot of things changed in politics. There used to be a wage cap, and political leader could only make X amount, and they were there was just no incentive. It was a very kind of a low-paying job, really.
Well, yeah.
For a lot of effort, and I think a country was able, or at least Canada was able to separate people who were greedy from people who did it for pure moral standards. You know what I mean?
I saw that change from when I came in 1960 to Vancouver. I saw it go from that, where the civil service were very civil and very helpful.
I think it happened somewhere in the mid '80s, where the salary cap was lifted, and people were, getting into it for money. So people were choosing politics as a career rather than, hey, I really believe this. I got to pursue a life in politics so I can implement some changes for the better.
Precisely.
And that was the old guard, the old world, the old standpoint. And like I said, in the mid '80s, a lot of things changed, and it just became a money grab. So people were going to university, getting their masters in political sciences, getting their law degrees, and just attacking the political world as a cash cow, a way to make money.
Well, see, that actually started some years before, and I blew a whistle in '72 in Ottawa with the Governor General and the RCMP, the Deputy Commissioner by the name of Nadon, and the issue was, would they be following the protocol for bringing money from the Bank of Canada through the cabinet to the government, from the government to the people, and in a variety of ways distributing interest-free money. Mm-hmm. Now, nobody understood what the hell I was talking about.
No, they understood it. They just played the duck. They're like, well, what do you mean?
Well, precise. That's right, That's
My
right.
good sir, I do not understand the question.
That's right. What a fool I've been all these years. I keep hanging on to the belief that somehow or other, our boys in, what are they? Not even blue anymore, are they? They're all sort of black.
They're in like black ops,
pretty
fucking
weird
military
stuff.
gear.
Anyway, we forgive them because they know not what they do.
Well, some do though, and some make a conscious effort to get into it so that they can do things under the guise of a badge. And be a licensed bully.
Oh, hey, well, did you see that guy that shot some
I did a whole show on police brutality
yesterday?
last year.
In some American cinema, some guy has a dispute about popcorn, and the guy using his cell phone, and he pulls a gun out and shoots the guy. And he was a chief of police for some years. Isn't that bizarre? That was on the thing today. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, the world's going crazy. So what do we do about it? Well, I've been trying to get none of the above on the ballot. But they won't have any part of it. I've had petitions going out around like you never believe. But the principle that they have for petitions today, it makes it impossible. And those of us who were using petitions back then protested as hard as we could. But it was the NDP that passed that legislation. So once they get power, they're just as.
Well, that's another thing. Is a lot of politicians, political parties.
Yeah.
Just to gain access to a new demographic,
right,
will make certain promises.
Oh, hey.
And then you hear nothing of it after the fact.
That's right.
So, a lot of travesties going on in the world. Now, I've said it on other shows, previous shows, and I want to say it again. I really encourage First Nations people to say, fuck the Harper government. Take advantage of this medical marijuana program that they've opened up and make some fucking money off of it. And say, fuck Harper. Grow some weed, help some people, and take your profits and clean your water up and take your profits and grow some healthy fucking fruits and vegetables, and take your profits and farm really clean organic beef, and charge the white man through the fucking nose for it. That's what I suggest you guys do.
Well, first of all, I'd put down, dare I say, blasphemy as a tool for penetrating people's minds. It's true I do say fuck once in a while when I really feel it.
I say fuck as a...
But I don't say it as too much because otherwise I think it loses its impact.
And that's a lot of people have come on, like I read some comments on YouTube and stuff every now and then, and there's been some comments regarding the swearing.
Yes.
And I have to say,
yes,
it's who I fucking am. So, if you don't like who I fucking am, and you don't like the way I convey my message, you don't have to listen to it, but it doesn't change the validity of the message.
No, I agree totally with that. No, I do. And it's like me. I used to be known as a rowdy for peace. I'd be out at the peace rallies, and then one day I suddenly realized, well, you know, this is really not very peaceful what I'm doing here. You know, this is counterproductive, and so, you know, at that point well, what happened then? I got active, right? Because the marijuana issue was not really high on my agenda always.
Started
money issue.
Awareness.
The money issue was.
Well, hey,
and behind that again, the concept of liberty and what that meant. That you were nobody's slave, that nobody had the right to dictate where you would be at any given time, not because you wished to do any harm, but simply because that's what freedom represented to you.
It's anarchy.
Well, listen.
I'm on your side, bro. I totally
I'm for
agree
enlightened
with you. That is
anarchy.
freedom.
I'm for enlightened anarchy. The
Me
bottom
too.
line for
It's
me
freedom. I
is
think
individual and collective enlightenment.
I think
that means to say each one of us is worthy of considering ourselves to be a child of the creation.
And we are.
And we are. That's undeniable. And when we say that, and when in our late life, as I did at 38, pick this up and start smoking it, and the very next day put down alcohol, because I got very drunk with a lot of, dare I say, Bulgarians, a lot of vodka I have drunk. But I only got, I don't know, it wasn't anything like getting high on some herb.
No, it's
And medically, I feel like I'm 18 most of the time.
I consume this substance recreationally, spiritually, and medically.
Yes.
And I say recreationally first because that's how it all came to be. You know, it was a social thing. Let's go buy a few grams. Let's all get high. We'll sit in a circle. And the circle's a very sacred thing.
Yes.
And it was almost like, you know, we picked up on old traditions by just passing that joint. And if you look in different cultures, there's the talking stone or the speaking stick, and people sit in circles and they do that. Or the pipe. It's like, we were kids. We didn't know that.
Yeah.
But it came to us naturally.
Well, I took that idea to the Supreme Court in Ottawa by growing the herb, a place in Richmond, and where the man could see it. And I had it that if the man didn't come and I was able to harvest it, then I would claim by right of immigrant right, that as a British immigrant seeking to be a Canadian citizen, I claim this right. Well, of course, I was too big-mouthed about it, and I told too many people, and so they had to bust me, right? Basically, because they knew what I was up to. So then they ran me through the court thing, 3 months in the slammer in Ocala, right? Because I had a jury trial up here in the old courthouse, and then that was after a provincial court trial, and then of course I had the appeal court, and then I did the jail time. Then I went on to Ottawa, and I got up there before the Supreme Court, and I had this 19-page brief that I prepared. That took me 6 weeks to run around Ottawa. Eventually I presented it, and a couple of days later I was supposed to show up, and I did. And they said, "Oh, sorry, John, you know, it's tomorrow." Well, it's like, you know, being prepared for the big fight. And then they're saying, "Sorry, you know, come back tomorrow." You know, no man. No.
Like, what do you mean, man?
Oh, come on, man. And I was you know, I was the that for that day, man. I was the shaman, man. I was going in there. I was weighed down.
They
With
took a little bit of wind out of your sail. It's like, oh no, it's tomorrow, man.
Oh, the next day, I crawled in there like a worm, man. Oh, I was not on my best form the next day. Ah, well, boy. So anyway, it's all good. You know, that's the thing about being an activist directly. See, I don't believe in hiding it. As soon as I started smoking weed, I made it clear because and the other thing was I stopped seeing all my old friends who were growing weed because I did not want to be directly responsible for bringing the heat down on them. But I'm walking around here like saying, hey, you know, I've already done your jail time for this bullshit. You know, this is where we must stand. This is what people must do because it's good for your brain. It's good for your relationship. It's good for your
everything.
religion.
You're 76, you said?
77. I'll be
77
this year, yeah.
Okay. Now, we've got three flights of stairs here. You know? It's pretty heavy.
Steep, actually.
And they're very steep. John, well into his 70s, I think primarily because of cannabis.
Oh, I do believe.
Helping your spirits, helping your joints, helping everything.
It's my avenue to the divine.
When we had our open mic on the 3rd floor, John would show up, and not only climb three flights of stairs and hang out with a bunch of kids, you know, but fucking like hold his own till midnight and dance his fucking ass off, you know. So cannabis is a really good thing.
Oh,
it really is.
Hey, really. I truly believe it. But more importantly, for me, I've been a student of comparative religion as a little boy, right? I got a proper Christian education, even in high school. We had to study the Bible and all that stuff, right? And I was a choir boy for 7 years, and I loved music, and I really felt the power of the Creator in my life because my sister and I were both little kids in a big cathedral, and most of the time we used to be laughing. You know, because we felt so good and all this light and all this kind of glass and all this good stuff. And like, shh, shh, shh. I said, well, you know, aren't we supposed to be enjoying God? It's His house, man. Come on. Yeah. Totally wrong attitude. You know, we're supposed to be miserable and fearful and, you know.
Not really.
But
if
we didn't buy that, so I've always stuck with that sort of rather childish attitude towards the Creator. But I do know that what made us loves us. And if we make the right choices, then certainly... I think well, I didn't do it till I was 38. That's a bit late. But I know people who've done it as old as 8. And I
started, I think 11, between 11 and 12.
See, if you'd been my kid, I'd been really ticked off again.
Oh, my parents were so fucking frustrated with me. Yeah, it was a battle. Like, it was a serious battle.
Yeah, but the curious thing was, you see, when I turned on, I wanted everybody to turn on. I wanted my son to turn on. But I can tell you one thing. If you want your son to turn on, he won't. He will not. I swear to God. And my son he did without my knowledge when I was away for a while, but he would never admit that he did. And to this day, he disapproves.
No, I didn't touch any of your weed, Dad.
No.
See, I didn't have my parents' stash to raid.
Yeah.
I had to go out and, you know, I got to become friends with a lot of the older dudes, like my buddies' uncles and stuff. Yeah. Because they wouldn't sell their nephew weed, but they would sell their nephew's buddy weed. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I got to get in with a lot of pretty cool, heavy duty, old school rounders back in Winnipeg, and it was.
The rounders.
It was
the girls.
It was a good learning process. You know what I mean? Like
I don't know. Still have rounders? I guess
these guys taught me street etiquette. They taught me, you know, what to do, what not to do. None of these guys would ever pass a joint in public back in the day. They'd all smoke joints, but they'd put it down on the table. The next guy would pick it up. And
that's true. I haven't actually seen that in a long time.
That was a practice that I adopted, and I did well into my 20s. You know, when I was out in public, and never had fucking phones or pagers.
Did you ever get bust?
I've been busted a few times.
A few times.
But had I listened to those guys,
yeah,
I wouldn't have.
No.
It's only because I got comfortable with the new generation of doing things that I ended up getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, maybe because I was doing illegal activities as well. That probably. But
Yeah.
let's face it, people do illegal activities their whole life and their whole careers and don't get into trouble if they follow a strict set of personal rules.
Well, I guess that applies whether you choose to to do whatever you might call them. So my problem
I
is,
wasn't doing any immoral activities.
Well,
they
there we
were
go.
just illegal. They're cannabis crimes.
Oh well, that's
I mean-
well, they're not crimes at all. That's
No, they're
That's farming
in the
your
eyes of the
gardens.
government, they're cannabis crimes.
Well,
so-
that's because the government is corrupt and it's been bought, as I
Yeah.
started saying earlier, by this cabal of big bankers who are, what do they call them, Zionists, who are, are culpable for most of the damage that's gone down for the last 300 years, one way and another.
There's some pretty heavy things that have happened.
And they're
in-
still trying to squeeze us into this economic slave state tighter and tighter and tighter until they throw away the money and then
It's happening.
everybody's poor and then they have a revolution on their hands and they cut us down with machine guns. That's the way they're writing the movie. But the thing is that I'm one of those people who had a vision, okay? Now, I don't know how many people who actually had a vision, but I had a vision about 1975 when my midlife crisis went down, okay? And I was then, what was I then? 40, must have been 45, was it? I'm not sure now. Anyway, 75. And, no, it's before I met, 74. So anyway, my boat had suddenly been bought, this big boat. I ran out of money. I was desperate. Midlife crisis. Everything's gone bad. And this guy comes along and wants to buy it. Well, I was so overwhelmed with the possibility somebody might want this albatross that I had around my neck that I didn't even give it a serious thought. The very next night, it blows away in a huge storm. And so it's all gone. So what I had left in life has now disappeared.
Message.
Huh?
There's a message.
Oh, well.
That was that was a divine message.
Yeah, but the same thing I should tell you. I got into bed with a young woman that very night, that I had been courting for about 5 years by that time.
Yet another divine message.
Oh, yes. oh, my life has been nothing but,
This is what I get out of the message. This boat is the last thing that's tying you to the turmoil in your life. This boat this boat is an anchor to your misery.
Oh, yes.
And you're consumed with trying to get rid of it to make your life a better place.
Oh, I given up on that. I just couldn't see anyway.
And then,
nobody was.
And then the divine creator, well, you had a guy that called you out of the blue.
You looked like an angel the first time I saw him.
Then you had the divine creator just blow that away,
Yeah.
give him a real gift of, here's a beautiful young woman that doesn't care about your boat or anything else. Be happy because your life is good, bro.
Yeah, and then
That's what the divine message was.
And that's right. And that's a part of a life story that I don't tell everybody, but it goes on and it gets darker. So I've lived through all of that, and I come out of all of that with a certain knowledge that what makes us loves us, and the way we behave and do as little harm as we possibly can, the more what the Germans used to call the juice or the vril begins to come into us, and we become more and more competent in what we do, more creative in how we feel, more alive in our, and we simply don't become chronic, because it's very easy to become chronic with this stuff, and it's very easy to be chronic watching, what do you call it? This network stuff, and I got huge amount. I got 136 Talking Head stuffs up and a few other bits and pieces that I put up because I decided that when I went to Ottawa on that money thing, I kept quiet. I just tried to do it through the channels, and when I went on the pot thing, I went as publicly as I could, but got no press of any serious order, because in those days they didn't want to know that anybody was trying to do this. So I tried to do it, and I did it, but I got some press reports, and I gave them what I had, but But I know I did the work, and I know it all went down that way, and I know that it just got shouted down, and I know now all the reasons why. Just as now I know why Trudeau had to bend the knee to the old and tear down this wonderful structure of the Bank of Canada.
Yeah.
Because what did he have? He had to deal with the FLQ, he had to deal with the separatists, right? He had to deal with the credities, he had to deal with all these bloody lunatics.
There's a lot of heavy people breathing down Trudeau's neck.
There was, and
Like,
I
serious,
didn't
like,
see that.
I bet you his life was at jeopardy a few times with
Well-
with decisions he made, because there's a different, like, I'm by blood I'm half French, and I think that's where my fury comes from. And, and I've noticed this with French people. There's a different approach to obtaining or to gaining self-obtained justice.
Right.
And a lot of people in that nationality are prone to violence and violent behaviors.
You think the British aren't prone to violence?
Of course. Well, the British are prone to a different type of violence.
Well, I don't know. You should go to Birmingham or Manchester on some Saturday night. I mean, it's all. Well, I don't know what it's like.
I guess there's certain levels, right? There's like
Well, if
there's
you
the
go to-
working class, the
Oh,
poor
where I
working
grew
class
up.
that have the brute, bar brawls and stuff like that.
Well-
and then there's the sophisticated violence
well.
that the blue bloods have, where they'll.
Well, I wouldn't accord that just to the blue bloods. I mean, I'm a gentleman, I do believe, because of my principles and values.
I shouldn't say.
But I claimed absolute commoner as far as I know. And it's not because I'm a bastard. I know who my parents are, and I know who they married, and I know how far it goes back. But I don't believe that they have any royal blood in them, and I don't particularly want any royal. And if it's anarchy blood, I don't want any of that either. I simply want to be a happy, friendly, kind of squirrel-like person on the planet where everybody's,
getting
having a
along
good time,
and having fun.
having fun.
Agree.
Smoke a little herb, grow a little herb, do it by way of protest against Harper and these lunatic people who are psychopaths. I said on one of my earlier YouTubes, you can see it on Pineapple Express 1 in my YouTube, Pineapple Express 1. And I talk about there, and I did that 2 years ago. And I said, this man is clearly demonstrating evidence of psychopathic behavior.
Well, if you look,
and he should have his head read.
The psychological profile of most world leaders and CEOs of big corporations are prone to be sociopathic.
Well, how long are we going to tolerate that?
Well,
because they have these paper.
Well, you got to think these people are in positions of control, and to be a control freak, to want to control people, you have to be sociopathic at some level.
But this is why this is why you have to get. This is
There's
why
no way around it.
Well, see, this is why my idea of the none of the above random selection. It gives.
Just draw a line through your ballot until they give us the right to have the none of the above.
Well, I said
or
that.
Right, null and void.
Every time I say that,
no confidence.
If people do, well, this is what I've been saying, but unless you can get none of the above on the ballot, people have been spoiling their ballots and writing it on it for years. I went to the Supreme Court of British Columbia here with a warrant from the judge to invite me to speak with the Lieutenant Governor, right, on behalf of those people like myself, British immigrants here, having rejected the Crown as the body of ultimate power here, and saying, no, this is the Dominion of Canada, and the Dominion of Canada is based on certain principles which are egalitarian. In other words, we do not recognize the Crown as more than a figurehead. They're not supposed to be engaged in here at all. We still have a Privy Council. Well, fine, as a final act with that Privy Council, let's ask Mr. What's his name? 91-year-old, beautiful, incredible man, I do believe, to Paul Hellyer.
Mm-hmm.
People know Paul Hellyer. He's spoken out on the alien issue.
Yeah.
I think
Paul Hellyer was the former Canadian Defense Minister, but that wasn't his only role in government.
No,
he's got a much more important position that people don't know about.
And he's much hated too by the forces because he amalgamated them. He was the guy that amalgamated them. But you see, when men of conscience and mind are able to enter the arena of politics through whatever accomplishments or political skills they have to drop the level of their understanding to the level of these bloody runabout lunatics, like you're suggesting, the sociopath. I mean, I'm always highly suspect of anybody who runs for office. That to me is like it's a great arrogance. I mean, if you threw names on the ground, or like I talked to one of the chief electoral officers once, and he said, well, he says, it's been suggested if we got the telephone book and we got a hammer and a nail and we banged a nail through the pages of the telephone book, and everywhere there was the nail went through, we pulled those people out randomly, like that. He said we'd have a better system. Everybody knows that, he says, and this is the chief electoral officer telling me this.
That's crazy.
It's not, but that's the way it is,
So
hello, kitty.
we have we're kind of in a position right now where it's almost like Canadians have to wait it out. We've got to wait out this Harper regime, because chances are he's not getting in next time. So when our opportunity arises to vote for somebody else, please do. I don't vote, and I really don't believe in the system of voting, but.
Yeah, but see,
at some point it's
well. This is the thing too. You see, I'm always totally puzzled by this, because I'm totally against electing people. In fact, I suggested to the NDP way back at the time of the original agricultural land reserve, which everybody thought was a good idea, but there was still some controversy about it. And I said, well, let's clear up the controversy. Let's unite the people around. Let's put it to a referendum. We know most people like it. And once the people have spoken, then the people have bloody spoken. It's not a political party. It's not changeable. This is
a record of the people speaking, and this is what the people said.
With a unified voice.
And the politicians should have to listen to the people.
Exactly. So on that simple basis, so I suggested them to them at that time, right? 74, right? Because that's basically what I've been doing all these years, is analyzing things and trying to figure out how we can save ourselves all this blinking misery. We're in a world that's just slowly turning upside down.
Well, it really is. It's
and the reason it's turning upside down, and the reason it's doing it slowly, is because we are in this vortice of conscious awareness and energy.
It's also a long-term agenda that was implemented in the early 1900s, right? The first wave of German bankers that came over from 1905 to 1910, basically.
Yes, no kidding. Yes.
They all left Europe under their birth names and arrived on Ellis Island under assumed names. We have the Scherf family. They came over, and that's George Bush. The Scherfs were the Bushes, or the Bushes were the Scherfs.
Really?
Oh yeah, and the Scherfs, George Scherf was Tesla's accountant.
No kidding.
Yeah. And George Scherf Sr. is Prescott Bush. So Prescott Bush was Tesla's accountant. He's the guy that fucking diverted most of Tesla's patents away from him.
Oh.
And he was also involved with the Nazi Party, like friends with Hitler, Otto Skorzeny, Joseph Mengele. All of these people, they were part of this group, and they had an agenda. And by 1913, Prescott Bush and these heavy duty bankers, they had the Federal Reserve Act drawn. By 1913.
Yes.
So it gave Europe the right, that they lost when the forefathers said, "Fuck you, we're not taking your money. We're going to print our own."
Yeah.
Right. It pretty much.
Yeah.
Reinstated the Rothschild
dynasty, empire.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's not a whole lot that can be done, because these things have been they've been designed by master architects who have access to social documents dating back to Alexander the Great on control. And when you know control that much, you can do things. You can create travesties against your own people.
Oh,
you can lock them all in their houses and have military rolling down the road and walking through their yards, and people going, okay, I accept it. You know, there's so when you're that schooled in control, you just got to wait it out, and eventually that control, they take on too much. You know what I mean? They try to achieve too much, and that's the one thing about these master architects, is that there's a huge ego that develops in the achievements of these things. My father achieved this, my grandfather achieved that. This is what I'm going to achieve. It's going to be greater than them. And what happens, they just take on more and more and more and more through generations, and eventually they crumble, and the people stand up again.
But don't you see that where we are today?
But it's happened throughout all of mankind. It doesn't matter who has control. Eventually, that control becomes corrupted.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it has totally. It's upside
And
down.
so once that falls, once we have these rulers that have implemented their bloodlines and have been controlling and have started this new world order philosophy in the 1900s, carrying it through to now, where they're actually seeing it to fruition. You know, they're actually like,
yeah, closing in on the population.
It's happening. It's happening. But what happens is, it'll end up imploding. Something will happen where their system will fail through egotistical endeavors.
I guess that's the way it's going to go.
You know, and then when they fall, the people will rise up. They'll see the weakness. They'll rise up. They'll fucking see the breach in the wall. They'll smash through it. They'll fucking, you know, there'll be a nice enlightenment, but then it'll just get corrupted again, because that's human nature.
See,
it's human nature. We're flawed by design. And by design, we're meant to be flawed so that we can never become gods. There's something in our design that has just been, that's why we only have 2 helix strands. Until we can figure out how to grow more helix strands in our body naturally, we're flawed.
Well, I think that's what, but that's why I use the chemistry of this herb. You know.
Oh, for sure. This
no,
cannabis, mushrooms. There's certain flowers that are given to us through nature that accelerate these enlightenments. But
right.
we only get a glimpse of what it's like to be a child of a god.
Oh,
not even a full-blown mature being. And we only get these little fragmented glimpses from time to time in our consumption, where we have these reflections of enlightenment, and it's like, whoa, everything clicks, it all makes sense. But not every time we inhale do we get that connection.
Absolutely
not every time we drop acid, not every time we take mushrooms do we get that connection.
That's true.
We're only given that every now and then because of our flawed nature.
Well,
it's only in those times that our soul is proved worthy that opens up, and they say, hey, you know what? And even through DMT, where we get a shortcut right to divinity, sometimes that divinity fucks around with us. And they send these weird little things, and they're like, they just play around because they know of our flawed, timid nature. And sometimes the divinity connects with us because of, I don't know what gains us access to that connection, but sometimes the divinity chooses us worthy and connects to us and sends us messages. So
all of that is a great observation and reporting.
But yes, I just think that we can never achieve true righteousness. We can never achieve true divinity, because by design we are not divine and we are not righteous.
Okay, let me take it off from there.
Perfect.
I would agree with you. However, in a manner of speaking, we could almost describe that as the willingness or desire as a child to be very saintly for whatever reasons.
Mm-hmm.
It may be the garb, it may be the whatever, you know, however, or maybe just whatever. There's the desire to be good, you know, to respond the way you're required to respond by your parents and so on. So the desire to have a good relationship with the other monkeys is sort of a natural behavioral characteristic of most people, right? Mm-hmm. Unless they're in a very alienated environment or there is no human contact at all, in which case, of course, they're very screwed up, right? Poor people. They'll get over it because they're living inside another world, in another mind, in a sense. But the vibration of the the human life and what we call the human, I call the human soul, is just divided from all knowing, all seeing, all being by really that small aura around me, that vibration that's taking place in around my photon of conscious awareness, which probably is changing multi-millions a minute on the top of my pineal, that appears to be experiencing time passing. So all these things are glimpses and into the programming of the human biocomputer. And not only that, but the integration of all the various other sub areas of qi, the Chinese call it, I think. And so as you develop a better understanding of potty training and then sexual and then exercising your will, your heart opens up, your brain and your heart get together, begin to talk. All of those developing aspects are things that bring you up to the present moment. And then you begin to go, well, wait a minute, all this is going on, into what part of do I have? And then it seems to me you could then begin to say, well, I didn't make it as a saint. I wasn't perfect, right? I tried hard, but I fell for this or that. Evident misuse and abuse of my faculties and body. Now I look at it, back at it, like addiction that I was unaware was an addiction even, a set of parameters of personal behavior which I've shed now, I don't need, right? But nonetheless, they totally enveloped me during that period of my life when I was growing with them and through them and so on. And I think that there's a certain point there where you have to say, well, yeah, I'm really not a saint. I never had the potential to be a saint. I was born into too corrupted a society to ever be that perfect, ultimately ideal being that we could conceive of. It's just impossible. But now I go through like one or two or three, in my case, death-like experiences, like I did stupid things in Mexico that had a gun to my head, and I was quite convinced the guy was going to pull the trigger. I mean, that was very real for me. You tell that people a story, and they say, "Oh yeah, John." Well, yeah.
Oh
John.
no, I don't doubt that was very real.
It was very real, And I would go, "Oh well, okay, that's one, right?" And pretty soon thereafter, I got saved into an apostolic Hail Jesus church by a couple of Mexican Christians, so I felt like I made it back to the planet. Shortly afterwards, my children popped up out of nowhere that I was hoping to find, but one of those kind of things.
Divine
Where
intervention.
it all gets real bad and then it all turns into sunshine all around you.
Yeah.
First you hit the bottom and then you bounce back. Sort of thing. Oh my God. Ah. Well, like that boat thing was like that too.
That's
same thing, It's
that's
like, wow. God, life is. Well, I've always thought life was a bit like riding on a roller coaster, and the main trick is not to stand up when you get right to the top of the hill, because that's when you're going to come screaming down.
Yeah, when you get to that hill, the top of the hill, you want to be seated.
Yeah, you want to be holding on real tight. Yeah. Not to say you're not going, but you're.
The problem is no matter how close to the top of the hill a person gets, they're always, or almost always willing to stand, because like this ego comes into play where they're like, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, hubris, of course, is the downfall.
You always have to be prepared to fall, because it's inevitable. Life does this. Peaks and valleys. No matter how high up you get in success, eventually you're not going to have that success. So
you get old and your teeth fall out and your muscles fall off and girls don't want to make love to you no more. Oh yeah.
Start knocking hash off the tables. Hey, speaking of hash off the tables,
You've got to be enjoying it while you can.
let's I've got a whole whackload of cannabis video.
Oh.
Now, did that finish uploading? Yeah? Okay, let's knock off the first video, because that one's the 26-minute long one. I'm going to play that one on... I'm just going to have it uploaded to Pot TV at some point. It's a 26-minute video of me walking you through 10 different kinds of well-cured, stored hashish. But we're not going to play that one today. We're going to play a whole bunch of wicked, fresh and local produce. We got about 30 minutes of fresh and local produce. And these are some of the finest nugs that I've come across. Not necessarily my collection, but these are all beautiful, and as this program's coming to an end, I want to start documenting a little more of these beautiful nugs that I see on a daily basis, because we're going to be robbed for a little while, and we're going to have to go underground and do things quietly, and you know, things will change again, and we'll be able to come out and just do things out in the open like we did before. So for now, here's some fucking sick weed.
Hey, what's going on, guys? All right. Not too sure what to do for a show today, so I think we're just gonna do a weed tour. We're gonna tour all of these jars here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and a little bit of weed here. So, I think first things first, we're gonna go with some of this schnazelberry. I don't think I've shown you guys this yet. Now again, this one is very similar to the shishka berry and a couple others. I mean, it's a shishka berry crossed to a shishka berry from what I remember. It's very beautiful though. So caked. And it really, like, it's a champion in the sublimator. It really is. I think maybe what we'll do is we'll take part of one of these nugs and get a little sublimator rip ready here. Hang on for a second. Alright, now we'll rest this up on here. There we go. It's all fucked up. Not putting very much in here. You guys know the drill. 1/10 of a gram, maybe double that. The resin glands on here are so abundant, it doesn't take much. Instantaneous. So here we go. That's a jar of the schnaz. Right on. All right. I guess moving right along. It's gonna be a long night. I'm gonna try to get this wrapped up by 3 a.m. It is 11 o'clock right now. If I get it wrapped up by 3 a.m., I can sleep till 8. On to the next one. You are currently looking at Sasquatch. Coming out of Saskatchewan. The Sasquatch is one of my favorite long flowering strains.
All right, we got to quickly reframe that. We got the framers in. Drywallers are coming in after the framers. So that's some of the nugs so far. We're just getting up to the Sasquatch. I fucking love Sasquatch. It's such a beautiful, beautiful... it's awesome.
Maybe I'll indulge myself.
Oh, yeah? You want to try some of this?
I'll try some.
This is some Nemesis. This is a Kashmiri landrace crossed to some Dutch genetics.
Did you do that?
By accident, yeah.
Genetics?
It happened by accident, but... Pretty good? Nice! Rainbow John approves. What's your website quick again?
rainbowcoalition.ca.
All right, rainbowcoalition.ca.
And
Pay this guy a visit.
yeah. You what?
You good on that?
Well, I'll do another one. That felt good. And if one felt good, two might feel better. You never know.
Yeah, well, it's, it's true Indian genetics in here. So beautiful. Kashmiri genetics, it's just, they make everything better. It's so amazing. All right, we're going back to Sasquatch and beyond.
You are currently looking at Sasquatch. Coming out of Saskatchewan. The Sasquatch is one of my favorite long flowering strains. It's a huge fucking yielding plant, this stuff. But it's, yeah, and it's super strong. Very hazy, as you can see in its appearance. There you go. Shout out to C-Ray. Thanks, brother. All right, we're looking at a jar of Kua Isla. I don't want to pull any of these buds out because they're so fucking fragile. They're just these beautiful, beautiful foxtails in here. Ultra, ultra potent weed. Now, originally this strain came to some friends in Winnipeg. It was supposed to be something known as the Crush. It turned out to not be the Crush. Now, upon research, a friend of mine was looking at the name Crush, and a champion racehorse came up. And coincidentally, the son of Crush, his name was Kua Isla. So we decided to call this mystery clone Kua Isla. This beautiful specimen is the train wreck. Allegedly. It's the OG wreck is what it is. Circulating in British Columbia. The elusive. This cut I think has just been released for people to have. I've seen it more and more. I haven't seen it look like this though. It is so caked, it is crazy. Ridiculous. Very, very dank pot. Extremely dank pot. got a few of these in flower right now, so I'll show you some of mine and let you see the differences. I think every grower has their own signature look to their nugs. I really like this stuff, that's for sure. What the hell is that? So pretty, eh? This is the Congolese, everybody. You all know the drill. I've talked about this lots. Very rare. A lot of people fighting over this thing. Pretty fair yielding plant. Done in a relatively short time with extremely strong characteristics. And every square millimeter of this thing is fucking coated. So no, sir, I don't want your mandolins, mister. I just want your Congolese. Alright, so I wanted to show you guys this. Now I'm not bragging because this isn't even my jar of weed. I'm just sharing some collection with you guys so you can, we can just share you know, a mutual appreciation for fine cannabis together. This is some Canatonic. Or as Green Supreme calls this phenotype, the Canachronic. This is the high CBD, not the 1-to-1. Now the effects of this are very, very stony. A lot of people don't realize, or I shouldn't keep, you know, I keep saying, oh, a lot of people don't, a lot of people don't. I'm gonna stop saying that. Some people may or may not realize that CBD can get you very stoned, and strains that are high in CBD, provided they have the other, you know, some other things to create a balance, will get you incredibly high, and this is no exception to that rule. This will get you incredibly high. Canatonic. Thank you to the creators. Peace out. Ooh. This is the Burmese, the same phenotype that McMahon grows. Mick's won some awards for his samples, and I know if this had entered any contests, it would have crushed any of the competition. Just, you know, specifically by the way it was grown. It's a little bit different than anybody else's
samples I've tried of this strain. It is truly kind of an enigma as far as strains go. This one requires less light. I'm going to give you guys a little pointer. Anybody growing the Burmese from the island, it'll grow better in under non-direct light. So put it in the corner of your room. You'll get a way frostier nug, and you'll get a higher yield, 100%. This strain does not dig the light. Just wanted to share this with you guys. I know people have shown their Burmese on Pot TV before, but this is a very, very exquisite sample. And again, I'm not bragging. I didn't grow this. This was grown by a very good friend of mine. And I just really needed to share this collection with you guys. Gorgeous. Sweet blue. My pal really, really likes this one. It's the it's sweet skunk crossed with blueberry. And I've had batches of this that seriously made me sad. I don't understand it. It would make me very melancholy and like reflecting life and stuff. Made me really kind of look inward and kind of focus on things that I had fucked up. Different opportunities and even down to relationships. It was kind of weird. I really have grown a huge appreciation for this strain. It doesn't make me sad anymore, but it's got some unique qualities, and its flavor is very almost woody, like cedar, with a sweet velvety kind of berry thing going on. Sweet blue. Just wanted to show you guys. Got Edgar Broughton Band playing in the background. What else do we got over here? Well, what's this one? Okay, that's the Congolese. You guys saw that. Let's go look at some Master Kush. Master Kush. I fucking love it. And this is, I've never had samples of Master quite as potent as this one. Look at the beautiful grayish kind of blue purpley hues to it. A little bit of gold and purple there. Just a poppin' Kush, that's for sure.
1, 2, 1, line check. 1, 1.
Alright, I really need to vape a little bit of weed after showing you some of these. I'm gonna do a quick vape rip. Or maybe I should do a hash rip. There's a bunch of hash here I should show you guys. Let's go with this one. I don't have much time left on this battery, so I think we're gonna toke it out here. Maybe 5 minutes left on my battery. Take the lid off of here. I really don't want to spill this stuff. Wouldn't that be a disaster? You know, I felt so bad. Some friends in Holland, when we were all out there, they had an entry with them for the Legends of Hash party, and their entry got dumped on the floor in Greenhouse. Felt so bad for them. The look on my friend's face, it was almost like somebody shot his dog or stepped on his kitten. So yeah, always important to be very careful when you're dealing with lids. Alright. Oh, that was so good. Now this is a 90 micron. Very beautiful. Well made. Alright. I'm gonna close that up. So good. And I think I'm gonna sort out some battery or some memory card issues and come back with a little bit more killer jars. We are looking at some Swerve. Well, I should say we're looking at some of the Swerve PK. Now, I think the Swerve PK is the Swerve Pakistani Kush, or the Purple Pakistani, or the Garberville Purple, dating back sometime to the 70s, I believe. This is the story I'm kind of taking. I don't know if it's factual or not. There's a lot of speculation. Just as everything in cannabis, so much folklore surrounding the origins of these strains. A lot of people will create a story just that sounds super good to give the strain a little more mystique, if you will. But yeah, I believe this is an old Pakistani. I've smoked it with a gentleman from Karachi who thought it had a lot of similarities to things he smoked in Pakistan. Slightly fruity, a little bit of sandalwood undertones. Very, very red, but still so coated. It's beautiful. I really hate growing this plant, but I sure love the smoke. It's one of the few things that affects my eyes, gets them very red and stony. Thought I would share that with you guys. Got a really nice buzz from that hash coke I did. So good. Let's go for some king. I don't know the lineage of this stuff. No clue what the lineage is. I just know that its smell and flavor are so off the fucking charts unique. I've never encountered anything like it. It's like consuming amber resin, like from a tree. It's very different. The high is extremely strong, very clear though. Makes me want to ride my bike. Really, really good concert weed as well because it smells so fucking nice in the air. Everybody around you is like, what is that? And like some concerts you go to, you light up and it's, it kind of offends some people, or somebody else lights up and it just stinks like fucking ass. This is not one of those strains. This has such a beautiful smell. And expertly grown, as you can tell. Woo! We'll put that back in its jar. Let's see, what can we look at next? I think some Harmony. Talked about this a little bit on a previous show. I want to get Reefer Man on Skype or something talking about this thing. Or maybe I can just post a link to the forum and where they talk about this. So, originally, this was known as the Rockstar Kush in the Lower Mainland. There's a different one that's on the island. It's the thin blade one. This is the fat blade one. Now, Rockstar Kush in the Lower Mainland came from Reefer Man. Reefer Man gave a gentleman by the name of Big Bag a bud of OG that had been bred with lemon Thai. Big Bag took the bud. There's some seeds in that bud. Those seeds, 2 of them cracked. One was a broadleaf, one was a thin leaf. Thin leaf went to the island, broadleaf stayed in the mainland. Or on the mainland. Got known as the Rockstar Kush. Other people have taken it and called it Bonguru's Rockstar. It totally isn't. Later on, Reefer Man introduced some more genetics to this, the first stage of this crossing, and it turned into the strain known as Harmony. I always refer to the broadleaf as the Harmony, even though the broadleaf was known as the Rockstar Kush. I call it the Harmony. I don't know what else to say. It's a lot of speculation, a lot of fighting going on between Medman and the urban grower online. Medman's taking claim to a lot of things, and quite frankly, so is the urban grower team. So, just wanted to clarify that a little further again. not trying to bash anybody or say, hey, you guys are wrong, because, you know, Urban Grower grows some, you know, really, really fine cannabis, very nice weed. I just think that a lot of stories get kind of lost in translation. And this cannabis folklore and all of these tales that surround elite genetics to hide their source or to attach an individual so that their reputation is boosted has got to stop. We're all adults here. So that's the harmony. Holy crap, is that beautiful. Oh, that was my ceiling. Ha! What else can we look at? Let's check out some Seedman's Haze, maybe.
Soldiers and Nixon come.
Since we're on the
we're finally on our own. This summer I hear the drum for dead in
now this one, there was back in the day. This one was a lot of bad
soldiers are cutting us down. Should have been done long ago.
And it's not technically, it's not even a kush.
What if you knew her and found her dead on the ground? How can you run when you know?
Still not quite sure on that story. It's beautiful. This is what she looks like. Fat, round nugs, so dense in trichomes. Almost overpopulated with trichomes. There's trichomes on trichomes. Special K, created by Vision Creator on the island. Also known for Vision Tide, Double Vision, Morgana's Magic, a few others. Congo Kandahar. Yeah, he's done quite a few different crosses. Hats off to Vision Creator for making the Special K because, you know, I hated on it for quite a while. I didn't think it was much different than the other Kushes. And even though it's not a Kush, it's so... like it's... yeah. You'd never know that there's no technical Kush, or technically no Kush genetics in it. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Very few people get to see this one. Some people claim to have the Special Kush, as they call it, but I really don't know. I think for the most part it's the LA Pure that people are calling Special K. I'm gonna put this back and see if we can find a Seedman's Haze jar. I'm sure there's some around. I really don't know where to look. Oh, actually, look at some East Coast Sour Diesel. We're not going to take this bud out of the jar. We're just going to look at it from the top of the jar. It's an older nug. Very fucking high yielding plant, this one. As you can see, this bud is literally as fat as the mouth of this jar. This bud filled this whole jar. Just wanted to share that with you guys. Yummy, yummy, yummy. What else do we got? We got some unknown stuff here. Hang on for a second. I dubbed this stuff Nice Pot, for lack of a better term, because it truly is nice pot. Very, very sweet and kind of peppery in flavor. Very stony in its high. Super dense in trichomes. Ooh, look at that, eh? That's so pretty. So very, very pretty. So yeah, I've called this the Nice Pot. I've showed you guys good weed. Now there's Nice Pot. I think the next mystery strain that comes my way, I'm gonna give the name Killer Nug or Fine Cannabis or a very respectable strain. Yeah. Wish I could tell you more about the lineage of this. All I know is that I'm trying to save it right now. Trying to re-veg a little bit of it and see if it lives on, because it's worth keeping. Alright. Should we do, oh, actually, wait, no, we're gonna show you guys some of this. Northern Lights Skunk Haze. Otherwise known as Super Silver Haze, Oasis Skunk Haze, Jack. There's all sorts of names for this one. Very beautiful though. Wanted to share that with you guys. We're living in a very unique time here in Canada, and you know, I just want to make these videos before all of this stuff gets taken away from us, so we have some sort of archive to compare the shit that's going to be produced as opposed to the shit that was produced. This is currently some of the weed produced under the Health Canada medical program by individual growers, and I challenge these big factory growers to come up with nugs as quality as this shit in your fancy fucking standardized facilities. Absolutely nothing wrong with this cannabis. What else can we show you guys? Yeah, I think we can show you that, and I think we can show you that. This is another very, very nice Kush. And these are all things that are going to be taken away from us when this program's done. My camera's almost out of battery time. And I'm almost out of weed to show you guys. This is some pink Kush. It's fucking gorgeous. I really dig the pink Kush. The sublimator loves it. It's a good one in the sublimator. So, just want to share this with you guys. The program's coming to an end. And, yeah, I'm going to try to archive as many of these videos as possible.
Boy, you smell that from here.
All right. We're back, or are we frozen?
We should be back. I can't see you guys. Oh yeah, you're back.
All right. So that was a whole shit whack of weed I wanted to share with you guys. I feel I don't have enough cannabis in the show sometimes, so there we. I mean, aside from what I'm consuming, but you know. Whoa, hard fucking core. So, because we are all pretty fucking lucky, and we're kind of running out of time. We're pretty much out of time. So, want to say thanks to everybody for tuning in to Class in Session. Thanks to Pot TV. Thanks to B-Real TV. Thanks to Rainbow John.
Thank you.
Thanks to Marius. Thanks to Marijuana Man, who you can't see, is just off camera here.
Thanks to Tippy.
Tippy and Buds. Tippy and Buds have been warming John's jacket the whole time, all curled up. Yeah, so if you're in Vancouver, 307 West Hastings, come buy a bong, come upstairs and smoke it. Shop locally. Buy local weed when possible. I don't know.
Shop local, smoke your brains out.
Yeah, there we go. Shop local and smoke your brains out. So yeah, thanks to Cheech for providing the cannabis culture crew with superior, affordable smoking material. I'm going to do a little show on Cheech, I think. Fair Trade Glass. I know we've talked about it, but I want to get really in depth as to what it's doing for the people there, all kinds of stuff. Because he's paying 3 times the wage as a normal person in China makes. Giving them benefits, giving them time off. They just had at the factory like 6 weeks off. You know, I mean that might be government enforced holiday. I don't know, but either way, I think they're being well taken care of over there. So thanks a lot. This is a video to play it out. This is called Lucky. It's from The Harvest. I'm not just playing it because I'm dating the singer. I'm playing it because it's a killer tune, and I don't know. I think we're all really fucking lucky. So yeah, thanks a lot. Take care, guys.